So what we'll do is we'll begin with liberating prayer as usual, and then we'll do a meditation, and then we'll talk about the Heart Sutra. Is that all right? Glad to hear it.
Taking back.
That's what you're going to do, you said. There was three choices what we read in the front with the wall.
And as he said, he hopes you do Led Zeppelin. I'm just saying.
Sorry, what was that?
Eddie said he hoped you do Led Zeppelin.
Don't know what prayers we were going to do.
Just snitching.
Thanks, Sue.
Now, children,
Settle down.
O blessed one, Shakyamuni Buddha, precious treasury of compassion, bestower of supreme inner peace, you who love all beings without exception, are the source of happiness and goodness, and you guide us to the liberating path. Your body is a wish-fulfilling jewel. Your speech is supreme purifying nectar, and your mind is refuge for all living beings. With folded hands I turn to you, supreme unchanging friend. I request from the depths of my heart, please give me the light of your wisdom to dispel the darkness of my mind, and to heal my mental continuum. Please nourish me with your goodness, that I in turn may nourish all beings with an unceasing banquet of delight. Through your compassionate intention, your blessings and virtuous deeds, and my strong wish to rely upon you, may all suffering quickly cease, and all happiness and joy be fulfilled, and may holy Dhamma flourish forevermore.
Please give me the light of your wisdom to dispel the darkness of my mind. So it's wisdom that performs this function. And so we can sit in good meditation posture, try to have a straight back. You can place the back of your right hand in the palm of your left. Raise the thumbs so the tips of your thumbs touch gently together. And then relax your hands into your lap. Close your mouth and gently close your eyes or have them very slightly open. We'll begin by letting go of all our concerns about the outside world. These concerns often act as gross distractions. And so imagine that the whole world outside of this room disappears into empty space. Whole oceans and continents and great mountain ranges, great cities and populations just disappear into space. Human beings, animals, and so on, disappearing into space. So the whole world is dissolving from the edges inwards until all that remains is this city. And then even the city begins to disappear. First the docks, then the great buildings, all the houses, hospitals, schools, parks, shops, everything disappearing into space. Until all that remains is this room, as if this room is suspended alone in empty space. And then the room itself will begin to disappear. The ceiling disappears. All the statues and the furniture disappears. The walls disappear. Everyone else in the room disappears. And eventually the floor and the chair on which you're sitting just disappears, and all that remains is you, your body and your mind. Everything else has disappeared. It stopped appearing. And turn your mind to watch the feeling at the tip of your nose as you breathe in and breathe out. And you may notice a feeling at the tip of your nose, cool as you breathe in and slightly warm as you breathe out. Just allow your whole mind to absorb into that feeling. So the feeling's the only thing that's appearing to your mind. Cool as you breathe in, warm as you breathe out. If you can meditate like this, you'll notice your mind becomes still. It becomes free from the turbulence of distracting thoughts. Enjoy this stillness of your own mind. And you may be aware of a deep feeling of peace and contentment arising for you. You're free from gross distractions. So turn your mind to any feelings of peace and contentment. They arise because you're beginning to experience your basic mind like clear sky, free from distracting thoughts. Just pure mind, itself the nature of peace and contentment. So when you arise from meditation a few moments, remember the feelings of peace and contentment that you generate. And this is what you can have anytime and essentially all the time. if we create the light of wisdom in our own mind, we'll be free from this darkness and just enjoy peace and contentment. No grasping. So now you can begin to relax your concentration. And when you're ready, you can arise from meditation. I'm quickly going to read the text, the root text of the Heart Sutra. Homage to the perfection of wisdom, the Blessed Mother. Thus I have heard at one time the Blessed One is Buddha Shakyamuni, was dwelling in Rajagriha on Mast Vulture's mountain, together with a great assembly of monks and nuns, and a great assembly of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One was absorbed in the concentration of the countless aspects of phenomena, called profound illumination. So he's meditating on the emptiness of all phenomena, including the self. At that time also, the superior Avalokiteshvara, the bodhisattva, the great being, was looking perfectly at the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom, looking perfectly at the five aggregates being empty of inherent existence. The five aggregates are the aggregates of a person, the body, or the aggregate of form, and then four aspects of mind: feeling and discrimination. Feeling is important because this is how we experience the results of our own past actions. In other words, all the experiences we have are felt through feelings. So we have pleasant feelings, we have unpleasant feelings, and we have neutral feelings. Most of our feelings are neutral. Just having a cup of tea is not a big deal. And then if we have chocolate, then that's a big deal. And then we have unpleasant feelings, a lack of chocolate, and so on and so forth. And so there's feeling, there's discrimination. And so feeling and discrimination are important. Feelings, we experience the results of our past actions. Discrimination determines action, leads us to engage in action. Because we discriminate, there's a pleasant thing and there's an unpleasant thing. So we choose, we go towards the pleasant things and away from the unpleasant things. Yes. So our contaminated feelings just see things as pleasant or unpleasant or neutral, and then discrimination makes us engage in actions. And so when we engage in actions, we create karma. We create intention to do something, and then we create the result of our own past actions. And then there's like a basket of other aspects of mind, components of mind, or mental factors. They're called compositional factors. And then there's consciousness itself, which is our primary mind, our basic mind. But the primary mind is just made up of all the components of mind. There's no primary mind that is separate, that has no components in it. The primary mind is just made a combination of different components. And some of them are there all the time. Feeling, discrimination, contact, attention and intention. So you can see if we have good intentions, then we'll engage in good actions. If we have bad intentions, we'll engage in bad actions, and so on. So, Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the great being, looking perfectly at the practice, the profound perfection of wisdom, looking perfectly also at the 5 aggregates, so body, feeling, discrimination, all the other aggregates of a person, being empty of inherent existence. So not only is the person empty of inherent existence, the aggregates also are empty of inherent existence. So things like feelings are empty, and just appearances to mind. Discrimination is empty, and so on. Then, through the power of Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra said to the spirit of Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the great being, how should a son of the lineage train who wishes to engage in the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom? So, it's actually Buddha Shakyamuni who's speaking, and all he's doing with his omniscient mind is causing Shariputra to ask this question. And then also Avalokiteshvara answers the question, but it's really Buddha who is speaking through Avalokiteshvara. Thus he spoke, and the superior Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the great being, replied to the Venerable Shariputra as follows. Shariputra, whatever son or daughter of the lineage wishes to engage in the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom should look perfectly like this, subsequently looking perfectly and correctly also at the 5 aggregates being empty of inherent existence. So here subsequently means indirectly. Initially, we begin to realize emptiness not as if we were seeing it directly, but indirectly through this concept of unfindability. Okay? So first we postulate that there's an inherently existent object, like form, our body. So let's say we make the assumption our body is inherently existent. And then we imagine how it appears to us, the body that is appearing to us, that exists from its own side. Nothing to do with my mind at all. Nothing to do with anybody's mind. It just exists. It's just my body there, out there. Well, if it exists like that, we would be able to find it. We can't find it within the parts of our body, or all the parts together, the collection of parts, or separate from the parts. So the body that we normally see is unfindable. And that unfindability is like a generic image. You know when you were a little child and you were just learning to distinguish animals, and your parents had these flashcards. Yeah. And they said, you had a flashcard of a sheep. Yeah, and it gave you an image of a sheep. So maybe you've never seen a sheep directly, but now you have a generic image. You have an image in your mind of what a sheep would look like, and it's different from a goat, or an elephant. That's a sheep, that's a horse, that's an elephant. So we learn these generic images, and we store them away in our mind, and then we see an animal, and if it has all the particular characteristics of a sheep, then we can say, oh, that's a sheep. It's not an elephant, it's a sheep. Because we know the difference between an elephant, the characteristic of an elephant, and the characteristic of a sheep. Oh dear. So that's what subsequently means. We begin to realize emptiness, to understand emptiness initially through this generic image of unfindability. Okay. And then we come to what's known as the 4 profundities. And this is the core of the Heart Sutra. If we learn these and understand them, then we understand the whole of emptiness. Form is empty. Form is empty. So everything that we see, all the physical things that we see, including our body, is empty of inherent existence. If you think about what inherent existence would be, if something could exist in and of itself, standing completely separate from everything else, not dependent upon anything, not affecting anything, how would we know it? It would be impossible to know. You couldn't know anything like that. Because your mind could never touch it. We only know things with our mind, so our mind could never engage with it. And because as soon as our mind engages with anything, we change it. Okay? So first, if you've never seen a giraffe, for example. If you've never seen a giraffe, at the moment that the giraffe, maybe other people can see it, but not you. So for you, at the moment, there is a moment when there's no giraffe, because you haven't known it, you haven't experienced it. And then the next moment, you see a giraffe, and you realize, oh, that's a giraffe. So there's 2 moments. 1, no giraffe. 2, well, the giraffe's not appearing. And the second moment, the giraffe is appearing to your mind. So there's 2 different giraffes. It's not the same giraffe. One hadn't appeared to your mind. The second one had appeared to your mind. Not the same thing. Yes? No. So what has happened is that when we engage with something, we change it. One moment we haven't engaged with it, the next moment we've engaged with it, and it's changed. Therefore, 2 different entities. Okay. So everything that we engage with, everything we know that we experience it with our mind, and therefore it is dependent upon our mind. The way it exists is dependent upon our mind. Yeah. Yes. Okay, good. If something depends upon something else, it cannot exist on its own. The great Nagarjuna, the great scholar Nagarjuna in the 1st century, in the Common Era, what he said was that the best way to understand emptiness is to realize dependent relationship. That everything that exists depends upon something else. If something depends upon something else, it cannot exist independently. Just by definition. Yeah. Look at yourself, for example. Do you think you exist in and of yourself, independently of anything else? No. We can establish that very quickly by just imagining everyone in this room is thinking about you. Yeah, well, this is what we think anyway. Imagine everyone is thinking about you, including yourself. You have this image of who you are, yes? Now, will everyone else have the same image of who you are? No. Why not? If you were existing in and of yourself, then everyone should have the same image. If you exist independently of minds, other people's minds, then everyone would experience the same version of you. But they're all different because all the minds are different. So let's say in this room there's like 15 versions of you. And is there any one that's more valid than any other? They're all valid with respect to the mind that's experiencing you. Yeah.
Depending on how contaminated the mind is of the person that's seeing it as well.
I'm sorry, say again.
Depending on like how contaminated the mind of the person that's seeing it as that version.
Yeah, they're all contaminated.
On scale of.
They're contaminated with self-grasping ignorance. Yeah. Because when they're thinking about you, they're thinking about you as an inherently existent object. And that's how you think about yourself. But none of that exists. So there'd be like, but none of these inherently existent objects exist. Nothing exists as inherently existent. So all these objects that we have in our mind, they're all non-existence. Yeah. But the generic image does exist because it's inside our mind. Form is empty. And here's the second one. Emptiness is form. What does that mean? The emptiness is form is empty. Emptiness is form. So form, the second one means that form is the way in which we can realize emptiness. So there's no emptiness other than form or feeling or the other things as well. So form is empty, emptiness is form. So it's like form is appearing out of its emptiness. Form is appearing out of its emptiness. So what we're beginning to realize that form and its emptiness are going to be together all the time. So the first profundity, form is empty, is talking about the emptiness of form, and it applies to all the other aggregates of a person as well, all the other components of a person. Form is empty. So all the components of a person, including the person themselves, are empty. Everything is empty of inherent existence. But then the second one is saying emptiness is form. So this is the conventional nature of phenomena. That emptiness is appearing as form. Emptiness is form. Emptiness is appearing as form. So, whenever you look at somebody or something, you can think this is emptiness appearing as form. So then you begin to realize two things. First is the ultimate nature of everything. Form is empty. And then the conventional nature, the appearance of thing, is emptiness appearing as form. So the appearance of things is just that, just appearance. Because it's in reality, is emptiness appearing as form. Got it? And then you have to think about these things over and over again, and really try and penetrate them and explore them. So the second profundity is emptiness is form. The third profundity, emptiness is not other than form. So this is saying that both ultimate truth, emptiness, and conventional truth, the appearance of form, ultimate truth and the appearance of form are the same thing. The two truths, ultimate truth and conventional truth, being the same entity. The union of the two truths. So, what this means is that emptiness and form are never separate. Like I say, you can't find a big lake of emptiness anywhere. But you only establish emptiness by in connection with form or other things. Yeah. So the union, the two truths being the same entity. And the final one, form also, is not other than emptiness. This refers to the profundity of the two truths being nominally distinct. So nominally distinct means that we can identify form in and of itself, on its own, and we can identify emptiness. So although the two truths are the same entity, together, one not two, we can identify form and we can identify emptiness separately. Yeah. So then this applies also to all the other aggregates of a person. So here's a question then. If all the components of a person are empty of inherent existence, and a person is simply a self or an I that is imputed upon any of the five aggregates. It's the definition of a person, a self or an I imputed upon any of the five aggregates, or indeed all of the five aggregates, doesn't matter. How does a person exist then? How do you exist? Who said that? Oh yes, you knew that already. Just mere name or mere appearance. So everything that we see or hear or smell or taste or touch is simply an imputation. Although it appears, it does not truly exist. And it's simply an imputation. We impute. It appears to us, and then we impute something upon it. Something appears, and we impute something upon it. So, we can begin to understand how we exist in samsara. So, out of emptiness, our aggregates of form, feeling, discrimination, compositional factors and consciousness, out of emptiness, our aggregates appear to us. Yeah? And then we grasp them as inherently existent, because that's what we do. That's our normal way of being. It's been like that since beginningless time. Our mind seems to grasp at everything that appears to our mind as truly existent or inherently existent. So our aggregates appear to us, we think they're inherently existent, and then we impute ourself as on the basis of these aggregates as inherently existent. And what do we do when we think that we are inherently existent? We cherish this self. We see other inherently existent persons, we impute other inherently existent persons, and we think that this one is more important than those ones out there. You thought you were more important than me, but so we impute an inherently existent person here, and impute everybody else as inherently existent, and but this one, because it's mine, is more important. And then we grasp at all kinds of other things as mine. My house, my friend, my car, my job, my career, etc., etc. But all of that is untrue. None of it is true, because the aggregates themselves are not inherently existent. So, and then this process of grasping at everything, we grasp at a self as truly existent, and then we cherish this self. What happens when you cherish yourself? You get delusions. When we think our wishes are supremely important, then anybody's frustrating our wishes or not fulfilling our wishes, we get angry with them. And then there's someone that we find they're going to fulfill all my wishes, we keep them close. Yeah, so we develop uncontrolled desire for things that we think will fulfill our wishes. Like ice cream, chocolate, and so on. And it never ends. This is our samsara. And because in the process of grasping, we're creating more and more negative karma. And we experience, we generate the causes of more suffering, and it just keeps going on and on and on. And when we die, we take rebirth in a different set of aggregates, and then we impute a different self upon those aggregates, and then we just carry on as before. And so it goes on and on. So we come to realize then that with karma, everything that's appearing to us is arising from our own self-grasping ignorance, which leads us to continue to have contaminated aggregates, contaminated person, contaminated discriminations, contaminated actions that lead to contaminated feelings. Yeah. And so these contaminated feelings are the unpleasant situations we find ourselves in samsara. So the question is, if everything is lacking in inherent existence, if everything, including ourself, is lacking in inherent existence, and our aggregates are lacking in inherent existence, how come we're stuck in samsara? How come we engage in all these negative actions?
Because we see them as real.
Because?
We see them as real.
We see them as real, yeah. We grasp at them. We have this contaminated mind of self-grasping ignorance. Please give me the light of your wisdom to dispel the darkness of my mind. The wisdom realizing emptiness, to dispel the dark. Once we realize the emptiness of all of this, then although things appear to us, we don't take it so seriously. We don't grasp at it as being true. And then we begin to live more lightly. So difficult situations come along, we think, oh, fine. Pleasant situations come along, I think, oh, fine. There's no difference between them, actually. In reality, there's no difference. It's just emptiness appearing as form. Pleasant form, emptiness appearing as different form, unpleasant form. The difference is just emptiness appearing, emptiness appearing. All of you are just emptiness appearing.
So are you.
Exactly. Exactly. I'm not even here.
Neither am I.
So if we didn't have words, labels for everything would just be assessed appearances and everything would be cool.
Yes, but but we do have words. And words have meaning. And so we can function. So if I say, Siddhana, come here. I'm not expecting Eddie to come here. So Siddhana knows who to come, and everybody else is not coming, you know. So, and these words have meaning. What are words? They're just sounds. Expressive sounds that have meaning. Where do these sounds come from? They come from mind. So mind is creating even the sounds that we use to communicate and function with each other. And if we have this, if we share the same sounds and the same meaning associated with these sounds, then we can function, we can operate together, we can communicate, we can cooperate, and so on. But we still do not need to think that the sounds refer to anything that is inherently existent. Yeah. Because there's nothing that is inherently existent. Great. So likewise, feeling, discrimination, composition of factors and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, like this, all phenomena are emptiness. All phenomena are emptiness. This is not how we operate at all, is it? This is the wisdom Buddha speaking. All phenomena are emptiness. So we get excited or get despondent and unhappy because we fail to realize this. We engage in a search for phenomena that are inherently pleasant, inherently sources of happiness. And we avoid, like the plague, phenomena that we think are sources of unhappiness. We could just relax and enjoy whatever comes along. We could enjoy everything because nothing has any meaning from its own side, and essentially until we impose a meaning upon it. Do you have a particular food that you dislike? Sorry?
Tahini.
Tahini.
I love tahini.
There you are. So it's we impose a meaning on things. And so if we realize that, we could come to say, oh, I enjoy everything. You could just say, I enjoy tahini. I enjoy whatever you previously thought that you disliked. Where is the dislike coming from? It's just mind, yes, and bad mental habits. are that we've learned over time, or sometimes perhaps intellectually throughout our life, and sometimes from our friends, sometimes from our parents, from our education. You know, people have particular preferences. But in reality, there's nothing lying behind these preferences, only just thought. And therefore you could just change your preferences, or not have any particular preferences, just by changing your mind. Being open to accept everything. So, when someone's not doing what you want, what do you do normally? When someone's humiliating you, speaking badly to you.
You tend to dislike them, don't you?
Yes.
Without even thinking that it's just an automatic reaction.
Yeah, or even worse, you might just want to react to, retaliate. And in the process, what you're doing, you're creating more suffering. Yeah, so the possibility is you could just accept. Just accept whatever circumstances are arising for you. It's a profound practice, because we're incorporating our understanding of wisdom realizing emptiness. Because the words that they're using, or the appearance of the person, is just an appearance to my mind. And it's my mind that's creating meaning of these words and these appearances. I mean, when you think about it, the words are simply vibrations in the air, nothing more. And then we create meaning upon these vibrations. We have choice. Realizing emptiness gives you choice, because then you can just realize, oh, I don't have to choose a negative meaning upon these words. I can just patiently accept. Just say, yeah, I always thought that. You're right. Instead of saying no, say yes. The difference it makes, just to say yes. Shariputra, like this, all phenomena are emptiness, having no characteristics from their own side, no qualities. There's nothing coming from what we think is the side of the object. Nothing. Nada. Zilch. They are not produced and do not cease. So, things are not inherently produced, and they're not inherently go out of existence. They don't inherently come into existence, and they don't inherently go out of existence. Which means it's our mind that's bringing things into existence. Things come into existence as a result of our own karma, and they go out of existence also as a result of our own karma. So if we think of it in terms of relationships, sometimes we create a relationship with someone, and we think, oh, this is the bee's knees. This is great, I feel so happy, and so on and so forth. And then the person leaves, and you lose that relationship, and then it's the same thing. They never were inherently existent. There was just an appearance to mind. And then they just stopped appearing. And that is all. One moment they weren't appearing, then they appeared, and then they stopped appearing. There was a singer who, one of his songs was Yellow Mellow. Anybody remember that? Donovan. Yeah. One of his other songs was, first there is a mountain, then there is no mountain, then there is. Do you remember that? First there is a mountain, then there is no mountain, then there is. This is how we normally think. First, things appear to us and we think they're a real mountain, an inherently existent mountain. Then we realize emptiness, then there is no mountain. There's no inherently existent mountain. But then the mountain's still appearing. How is that possible? Because it's just an appearance arising from our own karma. Yeah. Anyway, that's just some little thought I would share with you. First there's a mountain, then there is no mountain, then there is. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no composition of factors, no consciousness. What this means is not there is no form, there's no inherently existent form. There's no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mentality, no form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no tactile object, no phenomenon. There's no eye element and so forth, up to no mentality element, and also up to no element of mental consciousness. So what this is addressing is the elements and sources of our being. The sources are the sense powers and mental powers. The elements are the earth, water, fire or heat, and wind energy that comprise a person. So it's just breaking down everything that there's no part of who we are that you can identify as inherently existent. So there's particular schools of Buddhist thought, and some of them will take the view that there must be something coming from the side of the object. There must be something coming from the side of the object. Otherwise, why is this appearance occurring? The school that our tradition follows, in fact all the Tibetan traditions follow, is called the Madhyamika Prasangika view. Madhyamika means the middle way. So that view is there's absolutely nothing coming from the side of the object. Nothing. It's our mind that's creating everything. This is why we need both karma and wisdom realizing emptiness. Karma determines what appears in our life, what's appearing to our mind, and emptiness enables us to realize how this appears as simply appearance or name and nothing else. So as we go through life, that's all that's happening. We've engaged in actions as a result of our contaminated minds, contaminated by self-grasping ignorance, and these actions create results, effects, and the effects are our experiences. And because we have this, our mind is contaminated by self-grasping, we experience things as inherently existent, and then we're constantly, moment by moment, creating our samsara. And as a result, we experience all the sufferings of samsara, birth, sickness, aging, death, having to be separated from things that we like, and places and enjoyments that we like, and having to encounter things and people and places we don't like, and never finding satisfaction. And then we die and it starts all over again, because we still have self-grasping. So this is the beauty of the Heart Sutra, Buddha's teachings on wisdom, realizing emptiness, that we begin to not grasp so much at things. We begin to relax a little bit more, because we're not grasping so much. Because we're not grasping, we're not responding. We're not responding to particular situations. That's all right? No, don't worry. Do you need anything? Okay. So because we're not grasping, we're not creating so often more and more difficulties for ourselves, because we're not responding to what appears as attractive or what appears as unattractive. And so we're not creating more negative karma. So remember, we're just excuse me. We were talking about Pure Land of Akanishta, where everything that appears to our mind is the nature of bliss and emptiness. So just appearance will stimulate in your mind the experience of great bliss, and you won't be grasping at it. You just accept the appearance, and you're not thinking, oh, it's real. It's just appearance. It's this union of great bliss and emptiness, which is the nature of a pure mind. Yeah, yes. So we initially, we enter the first of the Mahayana paths, the path of accumulation, the path of accumulation. We're accumulating merit, and we're meditating on emptiness, and with a generic image, unfindability, on the path of accumulation. So then our meditation gets deeper and deeper, and we progress to the path of preparation. On the path of preparation, we still continue to meditate on emptiness with a mind of concentration, of tranquil abiding. And gradually, all the time, the generic image is beginning to fall away, because we rely upon it less and less, and we begin to see emptiness more quickly and more directly, until we develop what's called superior seeing, where two things: we have a very blissful mental and physical experience, and we're able to examine emptiness while we're meditating. Normally we can do one or the other, but on the path of seeing, we begin to be able to examine emptiness that's appearing to us as we're meditating. We begin to analyze it as we're meditating. And then we develop this experience of superior seeing. And the moment we do that, we enter the path of seeing. And then on the path of seeing, we begin to see emptiness directly, as if we were seeing it with our eyes. And we don't need the generic image anymore. And emptiness just appears to us naturally. In meditation. But as soon as we stop meditating and we go out of a meditation, then everything appears inherently existent again. Yeah? So we haven't yet completely purified our mind. But on the path of seeing, we've abandoned many delusions, particularly intellectually formed delusions. So what we're left with is innate delusions that we brought with us from previous lives. And so we make progress with our realization of emptiness until we attain the path of meditation. By continuing to meditate on emptiness, and then we attain the path of meditation. And on the path of meditation, we begin to abandon all the innate delusions, but also the imprints of delusions. So the delusions themselves are the obstructions to omniscience, and the imprints of delusions are obstructions to enlightenment. So we abandon the delusions by meditating on emptiness. So we're cutting away all the anger, all the jealousy, all the uncontrolled desires, all the deluded pride. But we're still left with the imprints of these delusions in our mind, and we abandon them on the later stages of the path of meditation. And when we've finally abandoned the slightest or smallest of these imprints, then we attain the path of no more learning. So you don't have to attend foundation program anymore. and you're an enlightened being. So it's just a natural process. Well, if you think it's easy, then it's easy. If it's appearing easy to you, then it's easy. It's as easy or difficult as you perceive it to be. Because there's no easy or difficult other than your own mind. So, yeah, if you think everything is easy, then great. Super. I mean, what would be the difference between thinking, oh, this is difficult or this is easy? What would be the difference in terms of effort?
Your mind.
Sorry?
Your mind.
Yeah, but in terms of the amount of effort you put into experience. Is it?
More.
I don't know. Sorry?
So I was just saying, like, the joyful effort, if it's appearing difficult or if it's appearing easy, if you could find joyful effort or joyous effort anyway, you'd enjoy it either way, wouldn't you?
Exactly, yes. And so it's only difficult from your own side. It's not difficult from the side of the object, or easy from the side of the object. And so if you have a mind of joy, oh, this is great, I'm engaging in the practice of Dharma, I'm using emptiness to remove the darkness of my mind, then you just think, oh, this is wonderful. It doesn't matter, exactly what rate of progress you're making. It's just the experience of engaging. And the joy comes from this thing, yeah, I'm engaging in Buddha's teachings. Isn't that amazing, you know? So all of this is the practice of refuge. We're taking refuge in Buddha's teachings. And this is what it means throughout. And there's not just the initial practices of a person of initial scope. The practice of refuge occurs all the way throughout all of Buddha's teachings. Yeah. So even in Tantra, you're still taking refuge in Buddha's teachings. Therefore, Shariputra, because there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely upon and abide in the perfection of wisdom. Their minds have no obstructions and no fear. Well, how come they have no obstructions and no fear? It's all empty. And when you realize everything is empty of inherent existence, there's nothing to be afraid of. There's no such concept of fear. And there's no obstructions.
Because if you die, you just continue on the path. Like you're not afraid of death.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, you know, the stories of bodhisattvas, you know, giving up their lives because they know it's just a transition. They give up their bodies because it's just a transition. You've got to be pretty highly developed in order to do that, otherwise it's just a waste of time, you know. You're wasting an opportunity to become a great spiritual being, to be able to benefit countless other living beings. So don't think, oh, look at me, I'm so powerful, I can give up my life. Don't do that. If you feel you want to give up your life, give it to me and I'll make use of it. I'll send you out with leaflets and flyers. Passing utterly beyond perversity, they attain the final nirvana. There is no other way, because we're realizing that everything is empty. Therefore, the meaning of everything is only coming from our own mind. And because our mind is just filled with the joy of Buddha's practice, then everything is joy. Passing utterly beyond perversity, they attain the final nirvana. And so, because their mind is completely pure, filled with joy all the time, they abide in a state of permanent peace. There's nothing to shake that peace. The mind is just like a solid, like a mountain, irreversible. All the Buddhas who reside perfectly in the three times are past, present, and future. So all enlightened beings who have become enlightened in the past, who are present now, who will become enlightened, relied upon the perfection of wisdom, became manifest and complete Buddhas in the state of unsurpassed, perfect and complete enlightenment. They attained the state of no more, the path of no more learning, by realizing emptiness of all phenomena, including the self. So, I'm not saying this is easy, because we're so well habituated to see everything as inherently existent. And to overcome that, we've got to really meditate. We can intellectualize it. We can read the Heart Sutra, understand it, but we need to meditate on it to really incorporate it into our way of being. So we become more patient, more loving, more kind, more considerate, because we're realizing the emptiness of all phenomena, including the self. Therefore, the mantra of the perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the equal to the unequaled mantra, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, since it is not false, should be known as the truth. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is proclaimed. So, the mantra of the perfection of wisdom mantra, the word mantra itself does not just refer to the words. It's an inner realization. The mantra is an inner realization. The inner realization of the perfection of wisdom is the realization of the path of accumulation. So when the mantra is Tayata Om Gati Gati, Paragati, Parasamgati, the first Gati. Tayata, we're calling on Prajnaparamita. The first Gati refers to the mantra of the perfection of wisdom on the path of accumulation. The second Gati refers to the mantra of great knowledge, which is the inner realization of the path of preparation. So it's accumulation, then preparation. And then Paragati refers to the realization of the perfection of wisdom on the path of seeing. Parasamgati refers to the perfection of wisdom on the path of meditation. And Bodhi refers to the perfection of wisdom on the path of no more learning. And Soha means, please bestow on me all the blessings so I can develop the foundation and accomplish these realizations. So that's why we should recite the mantra of the perfection of wisdom over and over again. Tayata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhisoha. Okay. Shall we recite it together? Tayata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhisoha. 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 And then recite it to yourself silently. And as you're doing so, think that I'm creating the cause to attain the realizations of the paths of accumulation, preparation, seeing, meditation, and no more learning. Tayata Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhisattva. So, just to finish then, Shariputra, a bodhisattva, a great being, should train in the profound perfection of wisdom like this. Then the Blessed One arose from that concentration and said to the superior Avalokiteshvara, the bodhisattva, the great being, that he had spoken well. Good, good, O son of the lineage, it is like that. Since it is like that, just as you have revealed, in that way the profound perfection of wisdom should be practiced, and the Tathagatas will also rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, the Venerable Shariputra, the superior Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the great being, and that entire circle of disciples, as well as the worldly beings, gods, humans, demigods and spirits, were delighted and highly praised what had been spoken by the Blessed One. So, just to conclude, the core of the Heart Sutra is the four profundities. Form is empty, the profundity of the ultimate nature of all things is emptiness. Emptiness is form. So form is the way in which emptiness is revealed to us, which is the profundity of the conventional or appearances. Emptiness is form. So it's by taking form as the basis and then investigating form, we arrive at the conclusion that it is empty of inherent existence. So it's the emptiness of the profundity of the conventional. First one, form is empty, the profundity of the ultimate. Emptiness is form, the profundity of the conventional. Emptiness is not other than form, so the two truths, the emptiness and conventional truth or appearance, are the same entity. One, not two. So the example that is given is like a gold coin. You can't separate the gold from the coin, and you can't separate the coin from the gold. They're the same thing. It's like the blue of the sky. Same thing. Emptiness is not other than form. Form also is not other than emptiness, which refers to the two truths being nominally distinct. Nominally, meaning by name. We can distinguish appearance or form, and we can distinguish emptiness. Although they're the same entity, we can separate out the two aspects of the same entity. Okay, you'll find a more extensive commentary in this text, New Heart of Wisdom, which, if you want, you can speak to people on the foundation program who are about to do an exam. And hopefully.
I'll still forget.
Do you have any questions you would like to ask? So you realize that we create our own samsara because of our contaminated aggregates. And we free ourselves from samsara by freeing ourselves from contaminated aggregates, by realizing emptiness of the self and all other phenomena. It's that easy. Thank you so much. Thank you.